It's the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. This is the Solar Eclipse edition. Solar eclipses can make things expand or it can cause reversals. What would happen in crypto if the reversal was the reversal in fortune for Ethereum led by the Base Network? I'm going to tell you some stories about the Base Network in a minute. Featuring, this show is sponsored by my Patreon. Patreon.com/unhingedcrypto. The link is in the description of the stream. For anybody watching the short videos, it's in the comments. Also, Eagle King is going to be dropping the link, and we have this very subtle QR code. We have special reports, pay-per-view stuff in the shop for those of you who don't like monthly memberships. And for those of you who do, we have a $15 a month project, $15 a month product, and we will be featuring Base coins today and going forward. Because I have seen the Base Network, and it is not surprising that you've got ETH up 6% off this eclipse. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show you the charts. We're going to talk about the laughability of some of the news. And of course, we will have some photos and commentaries about the biblical total solar eclipse that I just witnessed personally. A brief note on that. So eclipse has value from like a Gann point of view in terms of markets. So I watched it and then I was like, oh, okay. And then it went completely dark. And then this like ball of fire appeared in the sky like something out of Star Wars. It was black with a ring around it, and it was so big and so close. It reminds you of what's important in life: your fellow man, your loved ones, and crypto, which is freedom. Now let's welcome who's here. Let's welcome who's here. We have Forget About It, Bull Runner, welcome. Crypto Crazy, Flying Tiger in the house. We have Art, Havoc, Sarah, hi there. Brick Dreams, Rave Song Records, Aiken, DC Precise, Caroling, Digital Bobby. Dude, the eclipse was epic. Azik, Dwelo, GF, The Fuzz Crypto, noting that we are now at 11,000 subscribers. Anybody want to hear 12? Let's go. Bart, T-Bone, welcome. Patriot Caveman, Dragon Jones, Wojo, NSO Skull coming in from Twitter, welcoming YouTube, Twitter, and other places. Robert reminding you to hit that like button. Dragon Jones is here. Daniel J can barely see me with the camo. Better watch out. Patriot Caveman says, hey, Notorious, what do you think the chances are that Bitcoin hits 80K before the end of the day? You know, Mr. Caveman, that is an excellent question. How about maybe we wake up maybe tomorrow or maybe 2 or 3 days from now? Like, what happens if there's a small pause in Bitcoin or a sell-off and it doesn't really take the market down? Like, what would happen? Also, you know, we do have to have a little bit of caution about what could happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is also a big Gann day. This is Monday, April 8th. Okay, we're going to get into the news. I think you could have 80K and beyond to answer the question. Okay, so this is Patreon. This is like what we do. We create watch lists, and then we put the charts to them. So come on over and check out our page. Okay, this is patreon.com. Here is a demo of the shop. Okay, no, just a note. We have a special report for RWA and DeFi, real-world assets, and layer ones. There are coins in this layer one, in this DeFi and real-world asset thing report that were up like 10, 15% today. This is large caps and mid caps. So if you need lists I don't want to call them portfolios, but if you want them lists, okay, the layer 1 is a little bit more sophisticated on the list component. Check it out. Okay, news. Now we're going to go over this later, but here is probably one of the most famous technical guys on Twitter saying that the Solana versus Ethereum chart is at huge resistance. Okay, and he thinks that if the supply is absorbed, meaning if people sell Solana and Solana absorbs it, okay, there is a prospect of Solana doubling in value versus Ethereum. By the way, he says, if you haven't figured it out, I love dumping FUD on ETH. I'm actually not as bearish as my FUD indicates. Yeah, I wonder if he's putting that stuff out there. I wonder if it's kind of like it's like the reverse thinking. Because last I knew, like when something got to resistance, you either sold that thing or looked at the other thing, which in this case is ETH. We're going to take a look at this chart. We're going to take a look at ETH versus BTC, and then we're going to talk about what my boomer experience was like on base. Okay, a little bit of my own personal crypto history. We have Vitalik reminding you that in his mind, Doge deserves to be number 2 or number 3. WIF is taken off. Doge can surely follow. And there are other boomer cryptos, right, on Coinbase that could follow along as well. The higher WIF goes, right, because WIF is kind of like leverage Solana in a way. The higher WIF goes, the more other meme coins can follow, and the more massive the speculation will be on base, because I'm guessing people are over either getting rugged or network outages on Solana. I'm sure that's temporary. Solana is no doubt going to be back massively for NFTs. But what about ETH on base? Like, will you be looking at this market in 2 months going, oh my God, I could have bought Ethereum at 3,200 twice. And now I got to pay 5,000 and I'm going to pay it because I got to get involved in what's happening on base. Landmark UK Bitcoin freezing, Bitcoin in big red ink. Doesn't the media just love its crypto FUD? The London Stock Exchange to launch Bitcoin and Ethereum ETN markets. So a brief word on this. If you're in the legacy financial world, and let's say you're an investor or a hedge fund person, or you're in charge of new products at a big bank like Goldman, or you're an investment officer in a fund, how is it going to look if Bitcoin goes through 80 and possibly even prints 100? I know, crazy, right? What happens if you get 80 to 100 in Bitcoin? Because Larry is on the tape pushing it from BlackRock. We're going to go over that in a second. What happens if you're not involved? If you don't have a product like an exchange traded note, poor man's ETF? What happens if you don't own it? What happens if you don't have an offering for clients? What happens? I'll tell you. You're going to get fired. It's as simple as that. You want to see FOMO? I know we've seen retail FOMO. I know we've seen stuff go up and go down in crypto, but there's no FOMO when there's big, big money involved, right? And when the big money plows in, or the big money creates products, or the big money buys the ETF, or the big money creates ETF out of other crypto, let me just tell you something. You have not seen FOMO. Remember when everyone was telling you that the Bitcoin ETF was sell the fact that, oh yeah, you know, this is all priced in? Yeah, nothing is priced into this market. And base, oh my God, what this is going to do for Coinbase's stock. I mean, I was bullish crypto equities before. I'm not bullish enough. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. Now, CoinDesk, likable bunch. Bitcoin may rally to 80K on a triangle breakout. Okay. I know this guy, Omar, he knows what he's talking about. And he's got a nice looking triangle here on his TradingView chart. Now, a couple things about this. First of all, you know you're in a mega bull market when you can do effective TA with like the first 20 or 30 pages, right? First 20 or 30 pages, boom. Also, in crypto, triangles frequently don't work. Like diagonals, there's only a couple diagonal formations that consistently work. I rarely see triangles like this working. Now, if triangles like this are working, what is it telling you? It's telling you that Bitcoin is acting a little bit differently, right? Like you can read CoinDesk and get the triangle, but you listen to this show and read our Patreon reports, our podcasts, and our coaching so you can know that if Bitcoin is responding to a triangle, Bitcoin is acting like equities and the institutions are involved and they're reacting. And it's like stocks. Now you're like, well, I don't want it to be like stocks. I want it to be like crypto. Yeah, but just remember, equities, you know, NVIDIA, up, pause, up, pause, right? If you have Bitcoin responding to a triangle, then you're going to get up and pause, up and pause. Yeah, there are going to be dips along the way, but not the kind of dips people are used to. Not the kind of dips people are used to. Bitcoin's halving won't see a 600% return, so you better adjust your strategy. Okay, so I guess the press is telling us that nothing big can happen in Bitcoin. Okay, it's probably not going to go up 600%, but nothing big can happen, right? Nothing big can happen, right? Wrong. Okay, so 4 reasons why the Bitcoin halving may be different. Okay, we came up with our plan for the Bitcoin halving. That's 2 streams ago. Please subscribe to the channel and go check that out. Okay, spot Bitcoin ETFs have turbocharged demand. Fewer Bitcoins are available. And there's uncertainty around Fed rate moves. A brief word on this. Let's see. Yeah, the Japanese make an announcement that they hiked rates. That bothered Bitcoin for what? A day? Then you had some inflation data that the Fed didn't like. What did that move the market for? 2 days? That was a little scary. 2 days? Maybe? These things, and then of course, there was supposed to be major headlines from overseas. You know, there was supposed to be some major headlines today. We haven't seen it. Weirdness can still happen, but what's bothered crypto for more than 2 days? Nothing. Matter of fact, I did a short video. This is the complete opposite of what it was back in 2018 when I started. Back then, if you knew stocks, bonds, crypto, the Fed, the dollar, and how it all wrapped together, you had a huge advantage. Now, if you know those things, you're almost at a disadvantage because everyone gets all wound up and bearish, and then the market takes everyone off guard, especially over a weekend. Okay, so yeah, it is different, but not in the way this article is saying. Not in the way the article is saying. Now, Ripple. Ripple's CEO predicts crypto market cap will double in size by the end of 2024, excuse me. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about our friend here from Ripple talking about total crypto market cap doubling is that I don't think people really understand what it could mean if institutions like Ripple and even like PayPal have a stable coin. In other words, if XRP created if Ripple created a stable coin, could that stable coin be used and eventually wound up somehow investing in XRP? Could XRP be collateral for the stable coin? Or could Ripple just take the stable coin that it has on hand and start buying XRP like a stock buyback? In other words, how does total crypto market cap get to 5 trillion? Well, I could give you an answer, but I kind of like that he's on TV talking about it because people have not connected and a Ripple stablecoin with the possibility of that being used to ramp XRP. Because again, you're not going to have a cycle without Bitcoin, ETH, Doge, XRP, and eventually, even though I don't have anything on it today, probably Cardano. Because the world doesn't need less layer ones. Again, in Patreon, we've got the next new hot momentum layer ones. Now, bankrupt crypto lender Genesis sells 36 million GBTC. Let's talk about who the seller is in the crypto market. Who's the seller? Grayscale, or that's the company, makes a product called GBTC, and that was literally the OG stock market product for Bitcoin, right? They formed what's called a trust, okay? Grayscale bought Bitcoin, and then you could invest in shares of the trust by buying in your Schwab account GBTC way back. Now, GBTC has two issues. One, it was used by a lot of the bankrupt entities from 2022 and had to be sold off in order to pay off debts. GBTC had another problem in the sense that people are moving money from that product into the Bitcoin ETF. So in the beginning, for every dollar BlackRock gets, it's probably $1, a lot of it coming from Grayscale, because people, as they sell GBTC and they buy BlackRock's ETF, Grayscale has to sell Bitcoin. So Grayscale has to sell Bitcoin. That's the bottom line. Well, here's a question. What happens when Grayscale doesn't have to sell Bitcoin anymore? Like, what happens when that stabilizes and people who own that just own that? And what happens when bankrupt lenders are done selling GBTC or selling ETHE? That's Ethereum. What happens when they're done? Who's the seller in the market? There isn't any seller. There isn't any. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, if you get caught sleeping on this thing, at the same moment that the seller dries up in Bitcoin, and at the simultaneous moment, every normie in the world goes, you know what? I want to own Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum. And then I want to take that Ethereum and go play on Base. And you know what? I can buy Ethereum with cash through my Coinbase account directly in the Coinbase wallet and then go straight to Base. Like, you know, if you tried to do that with MetaMask, you'd have to go to MoonPay and KYC and do all this. No normie's going to do that. They're not going to do that. But now they can go play in meme coins. They can go play in any projects that come up on Base. And suddenly, right, if you think about the normie world, when the supply of Bitcoin dries up, what's the normie world going to do? Well, it's simple. They're going to go to Coinbase and we're going to have a chain reaction. When there is no more Bitcoin, what happens? Okay, we won't talk about that one. Now, it doesn't pay to be a working class professional. I was looking at a meme coin on Base called Normie. And one of the things that Normie does is it tries to appeal to somebody working an hourly wage job. It's funny, like the little character makes money in Normie and then has to click off with his friend because he says, oh, I made all this money, but I still got to go to work. It's funny. People from Normie world are coming to crypto. Now, this is interesting. Food inflation across rich nations drops. Now, commodities are rallying. We will cover this. I did notice that my Costco bill did not go up. That was refreshing. But commodities are rising, metals and grains. Now, in the meantime, if food inflation at least is not taking money directly out of people's pockets, maybe they do have enough money to speculate on Coinbase. Maybe not the little guy, but maybe the medium-sized guy. Very interesting. Also very interesting to see if food inflation stays down, because there was all this yip yap about, oh, we got to be tough on inflation. Okay, right. When the Fed has to cut rates, they're going to need to cut rates 1, 2, 3. They're going to do 3 of them when they have to do it because they've waited too long. Hey, remember when everyone was upset about this? U.S. job numbers at 303,000. The U.S. job number has been above expectations now 15 months in a row. We either have an amazing economy or we've got something going on with our statistics. Either the people who report them or the people who estimate them. We won't discuss that further, but what we will discuss is, does anybody even remember this? Not with ETH up 6%, not with small cap layer 1 and real world asset coins going up 10, 15, 20%. Okay, now. Remember when I said that BlackRock did the ETF, right? Then BlackRock came out and said, we're tokenizing assets. And one of the things I said about it was that these companies, particularly companies focused on equities, are familiar with the concept of news flow, right? In other words, you don't come out with one announcement. You have 6 announcements. They come one after the other, after the other, after the other, right? And all the investment banks and everybody else who's behind Larry on crypto, behind the curve, is doing the same thing. Now, look what Larry's doing. Larry's like, you don't have enough money for retirement. Yeah, you, I'm talking to you out there on CNBC, right? You don't have enough money. Nobody has enough money. Nobody, some people may not have any money. And there's all these statistics like, Gen Z requires such and such to retire. Now, is Larry looking out for the good of humanity here? Or is BlackRock, which is now gigalong the ETF with a huge lead, is going to get the normie world wondering, gee, should I get the Bitcoin ETF in my IRA? Gee, do I need to be invested in Bitcoin to catch up on my retirement? So this is not specifically a Bitcoin commercial, but you can consider it announcement number 3, and it's not priced in. Because what is he doing? He's getting inside the head of the normie world. Notice who he's interviewing with, by the way. They have other journalists. He's interviewing with Cramer. Okay. So Cramer can't obviously come out and say, I love the Bitcoin ETF. But he can invite Larry on to say, you know what? You're a little bit behind your retirement. Maybe you want to take a look at the 401k. Maybe you want to ask about the Bitcoin ETF or any other crypto-related product. Oh, that we happen to be coming out with. Did I mention we here at BlackRock are coming out with a whole bunch of crypto products? What do you know? How about a Dogecoin ETF? In other words, this is not theoretical. I said he's got more than one announcement, and here's the announcement number 3. They're so not done yet. Okay, so our friend at JPMorgan said he's sounding alarm about the worst risks to the U.S., and he's talking about all the things that we've talked about. For the sake of this, we're calling them international headlines. International headlines. That's interesting, don't you think? That all of a sudden, Wall Street is worried about all of us. Okay, well, there are some people don't get along with other people. Some nations don't get along with other nations. We could talk about it. We can't talk about it. So here's what we can talk about. We can talk about waking up one day and you realizing that, oh no, we need crypto. Oh no, we need crypto. Like right now. Because trouble doesn't make an appointment. If you can't use an ATM machine and you need a really fast Litecoin, or normies hit Coinbase and they realize that for $500, they can get 5 whole Litecoins. Or for $700, if you got some money, you can get 1 whole Bitcoin Cash. Or Ethereum is still way below its all-time high, while Bitcoin is still at its all-time high. Welcome to the normie stock market way of looking at things. And I would say that the normie world was coming before. And after using base, I can tell you that when the normie world gets here, when everyone figures this out, ETH's going to be at 5,000 before you can blink. Matter of fact, there is going to be a God candle day, the day that somebody figures out that either a meme coin takes off over there. I have my suspicions, and my Patreon group will be getting those suspicions, by the way. I like what the meme coins are, because they're going to see WIF, right? They've seen the WIF, the dog with the nice knit hat. Yeah, they've seen him on that giant dome in Vegas. So the normie world knows what Doge and WIF and Pepe, they know what these things are. And now they might be able to get access to them before it hits Coinbase. Because before it was like, yeah, you know, we can get access to a meme coin after it's worth $1 billion. No, there's a new game in town. There's a new game in town. Normies can use the Coinbase wallet to go directly to a DEX. I use this thing. Oh my God. MetaMask, Uniswap. Please. Not happening. Okay. I'm going to continue that story in a second. All right. Let's see who else we got in here now. We have AZK, Flying Tiger. Okay. Does anyone have a good source on how to use Base? Yes, me. Blockchain Crusader has a good video on how to use Base. Really, you're opening up a Coinbase wallet. You're opening up a Coinbase wallet, and you're either transferring ETH to that wallet and then using Base, or you can actually buy the ETH right in the app. Right in the app. I mean, it is unbelievable. As soon as I can make a video using my phone, I can. But you can literally you can go cash to ETH on Base in the Coinbase wallet, and then you can immediately start swapping like Uniswap without Uniswap. It's the DEX, it's the off-ramp, it's the on-ramp, all at the same time. And guess what? I'm declaring this. If you're a normie or you're sort of a normie, you're early. Like Base, okay, you're not day one, but compared to the massive explosion on Solana, hasn't even started yet. And when the normie world gets involved, it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Ave Medina reminds us that the Patreon Spartan always wins. Flying Tiger liking Doge. Welcome. King Peasant. Howdy. Matt. Galaxy catching a bid. Yes. Galaxy Digital and these crypto equities, especially when you see Larry saying that there's a retirement crisis, Larry is telling you crypto stocks. Do it. Previous show, right? And in Patreon, actively discussing long-term price prediction targets. Marathon Digital, like $300 4 years from now. It's currently trading at 16. Kim Craig is here. Welcome. Dragon Jones. I'd buy that for $1. Let's go. Angela, Ashton, Pancakes and Peanut Butter, Tyrannic Mammal, Crypto Hoops, saw the Eclipse. Dude, absolutely epic. Okay, let's talk about expansion. So I did a mini Base rant. Here's more of a story. So I came into crypto in 2017. Somebody called me up and said, Bill, we need to know what you think about Bitcoin TA-wise. I was like, what's Bitcoin? Now, by the time I figured it out, I figured out what it was. And by the time I charted it out, right, it went from 5,000 to 20,000. And I was like, wow. Okay. Then I understood what it was. And then I got the bear market right. And then came the next cycle. The next cycle, I understood Bitcoin. I understood Ethereum. But when the whole DeFi world came out, I understood how exciting DeFi was. I understood what Uniswap was, but I didn't understand like Matic at fraction of a penny, right? I didn't understand a lot of the very sophisticated things that you could do with DeFi. I understood that decentralized finance and maybe staking was great, but it wasn't easy for me to understand at the time. Knowledge expanded, but when it got hot, right? Other people knew more than me. Okay. I eventually figured it out. Then this cycle comes along. Okay. Now I'm thinking Solana is going to be like an NFT phenomenon because of the low transaction costs and the Solana phone. Well, of course, as we know, it turned into an unbelievable meme coin mania. And even though I said there are going to be some top 5, there are going to be, there's going to be 4 or 5 meme coins that are worth billions of dollars in the top 10 by the time the cycle is over. And little did I realize that this was literally happening on Solana. Like, it was here and then it was gone in like a month, where people made life-changing money. Okay, so now that I understand the full extent of meme coin mania, right? Now I also understand that ETH is completely unusable because of $70 gas fees, even though that's 1/4 of what we were literally paying in 2020. There has to be a better answer. Now, Solana's having network problems. And then I watched some videos and I was like, this is how you use Base. And like I said, you can move money from Coinbase to your Coinbase wallet very easily. If you have ETH in Coinbase, going to the Coinbase wallet is actually intuitive. Okay. And then if that's not intuitive, you can buy ETH inside the Coinbase wallet for use on the Base network in the app. Now, how many coins are there on Base? Well, there's one big project. We'll go through that later. There's a couple of meme coins. There's new stuff coming out every day. Obviously, I mentioned Normie. Okay. Now, what happens when someone like me, okay, who is in crypto, but is not like a blockchain specialist, all of a sudden feels like he's early and he gets it? I'll tell you. I do something like I call it my brother, who's a very successful attorney, who likes to play on Coinbase. He's kind of a hodler. He's a super hodler, right? He's still got stuff from the last cycle. But when I explained to him that all he's got to do is open up a Coinbase wallet on his phone, and then he's off to the races, no Uniswap, no MetaMask, none of that. No going back to Coinbase to cash out. Multiple steps eliminated. I can tell you right now, him and his lawyer buddies are going to be, like everybody he knows is coming in with a 5-figure sum. Like they're just going to absolutely ape in. Because when they see the next Pepe, the next Bonk, the next WIF, there's a guy I respect on Twitter talking about WIF going to like double digits. I mean, if WIF goes to double digits, what is going to happen when the normie world sees Bitcoin at 80 or 100, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, ETH, Doge, and everything on this Base network? What is going to happen? People are going to be paying any price to get ETH. Matter of fact, if the crypto community isn't careful, ETH is going to get away from them in price. So they got to get it, not investment advice, now, right? Because if the normies are coming, Litecoin is not priced for every normie in the world coming. Bitcoin Cash has had a rally, but can rally more if you know the history of Bitcoin Cash, because to a normie, Bitcoin is orange, Bitcoin Cash is green, and Bitcoin Cash is faster. So if you missed gold, some people think that ETH is silver, maybe, but maybe a normie might think Bitcoin Cash is silver. You don't have to be a genius to know that people want an alternative to the dollar. So, I mean, like all weekend I had been like, oh my God, I could do this on my phone too. I'm just like, oh, wow. Here, let me press this button. Oh, look, I'm in. $50, $100, $250. You can play on Base. A Coinbase's stock, I mean, they were selling it at 90, telling you it was going to 60. Now I'm starting to wonder if it can go to 1,000. Because every time you do a transaction on Base, Coinbase is picking up a little fee, which you don't mind paying because it's not a $12, $14, $70 gas fee. You're just paying a regular little Coinbase fee. Who cares? Right? And especially since it's just wicked fast like Solana. Like I'm on a Coinbase app transferring ETH. I hit the button. And then by the time I open up my Coinbase wallet, it's there. It's there. Like moving money between, phantom wallets in Solana. Except like I said, the off-ramp and the on-ramp for normies is there. Okay, let's go to PowerPoint. That was that was like a normie discovers crypto. Now, also kind of fitting that it happens near the eclipse, because remember, eclipses are about reversals and expansions. What's expanding? ETH. What's expanding? Boomer and normie knowledge of crypto. What's reversing? How about the dominance of something like Solana or even quasi-sophisticated crypto native knowledge necessary to play in small caps? Here comes your market update. Okay, brief technical problem here. Okay. Coming back up now. Okay, here we go. Your market update. Okay, am I sharing screen? I'm sharing screen. Okay, this is not financial advice. This is the solar eclipse. The picture on the right was what it was before the eclipse. And then I had absolutely no idea. I'd never seen a total solar eclipse. This thing was high in the sky. It was a big black spot with fire around it. I couldn't believe it. People were like, oh, literally. From Gann's work, the second paragraph, Gann's method hinted that such celestial events could coincide with shifts in market sentiment or economic trends, leading to potential reversals or accelerations in market movements. Okay, so don't be surprised if there's volatility over the next 2 days. If they give you a dip, it's a gift. If you don't get a dip, it's because ETH just woke up. More on that. Now, here's Bitcoin 89-minute. This is pretty simple, right? So they had like 71, 72 as resistance. This was your, oh my God, the Fed, whatever. And then it grinds back up, takes out the resistance, comes back down and retests it. And let me just ask you something. Someone asked me this. Why can't Bitcoin just turn around and go to 80? And what's so special about 80? Matter of fact, I could argue there's nothing special above 70 until 100. Got any idea what happens in the normie world if Larry and friends push Bitcoin to 100? If the next dip is a shallow one? Okay, ETH on a 2-hour chart. So what we see here with these fours is this comes from Elliot Wave, and each trend has 5 waves. Now, when you get to the 4th wave of a downtrend, that point where we go from wave 4 to wave 5 essentially is the point where people start to give up, where people just throw in the towel and go, I'm out. I'm out. So from 4 to 5 is what I always call the give up trade. Now here on this little 2-hour chart, we've got multiple give up trades happening. We had a big one from 36 to roughly 3,100. And we had another one from 3,600 to 3,200. 2 give up trades in ETH. 2. Okay. So what happens when you take out the top of these give up trades? In other words, when you go past the point of despair, past the point where despair kicked in, what happens? Well, optimism comes through. The downtrends are over. The correcting is over. The underperformance is over. Now, if ETH can take out 3,650 and stay there, this is telling you that the downtrend is over, that the underperformance of ETH is over. I mean, can you imagine, because this has happened in the world, can you imagine if there was a reason for Bitcoin and Ethereum to go up together and then have small caps inside the base network following hard? I can definitely see that with multiple layer ones and Larry on the tape with real world assets. I mean, are you going to fade Larry? Right? This could get robust. Now, I know that there's not necessarily enough liquidity in the market for everything to go up like it did in 2021, but that doesn't mean ETH can't go up 10% every day. It doesn't. And it doesn't mean you can't have this, oh my God, move as people have fear of missing out in Bitcoin, which triggers a normie stampede into Coinbase. Just as a reminder, back at COVID, when there was a group of young people who decided that they wanted to kind of like gang up on hedge funds, and they took stocks like GameStop that were kind of like companies that were out of business, got together on Reddit and started moving these stocks to where they made like beyond spectacular moves just because a group of people got together and decided they were going to do something. Well, of course, this won't be organized on Reddit, but the normie world can see Coinbase. They can see Bitcoin in the newspaper. Bitcoin on a 3-day chart using something called Fibonacci extension analysis. Fibonacci extension analysis and hidden pivot analysis are just ways to see support and resistance through non-traditional ways, through a little bit of Fibonacci math. Okay. So this is, I call it the 618 and the 1.618. And these levels have been very useful, particularly in like the AI coins and stuff like that. Now, Bitcoin has a 618 and it has stopped here. So you know that level's probably valid for, I don't know, a good 10 days. And now Bitcoin is doing like a nice glide through 70. Nice little glide, right? Nice glide through 70. And the next level I have above that is 103. 103. That's the 1618. So is it possible? Is anybody discussing the fact that if Bitcoin takes out 70 or really takes out the all-time high and there's a dip and it doesn't really move, whether or not this thing can wind up at 103? Now, that's a possibility. I have a question. Are you ready for that? Is anybody ready for that? The answer to that, you might be ready for it. The crypto market's not ready for that. Okay, remember the triangle from Omar on Cointelegraph? Yeah, here's the triangle in reverse with green paper. Green paper is forming a triangle, and green paper could, have an initial move down and then a triangle. And if green paper falls like a leaf off of a tree, this is good for Bitcoin. It's also good for Litecoin. Litecoin Weekly. What has Litecoin done? Nothing. What did Litecoin do before it exploded to 400 in 2020? Nothing. What is the case for Litecoin now, whereas before in 2020? In 2020, it was another hot crypto asset, just another one that was getting pumped when everything pumped. Is Litecoin useful as money? Yes or no? Could it find a use case in this weird world? Where is overall debt levels now versus 2020. Green fiat, 13 top right here. Green paper, possible big red candle coming. I saw this type of thing before in Ethereum prior to Celsius. Bitcoin on a daily chart. So this is a top signal over here, this 13, and it topped for 2 days. And now it's headed for what you would call the blow-off top level, which is at 80. So the top signal wasn't a top signal, and it's headed for 80. Even with a dip tomorrow, that seems like a given that you can get to 80 unless something awful happens. And maybe if something awful does happen, it underscores the need for crypto. Gold. Is there going to be a dip in gold? Well, this doesn't look like it. This looks like 1,000% return. It's really a 10% ramp. Gold has done nothing for a very long time. Okay, it's at the high end of its range, but it hasn't done much. Now, the normie world could go out and buy gold coins like they did last year off Silicon Valley Bank. And of course, there's always a good idea to have physical gold or silver. There's nothing wrong with that. But is the normie world going to take a look at this and go, I need to buy gold? Or is the normie world going to take a look at this and go, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin because I can go to Coinbase and buy it? This is telling you that the world needs another form of money. That's what it's telling you. CRB index, commodities. CRB is an index it's older than I am, I think. CRB is very heavily weighted towards metals and food. So cocoa, wheat, gold, silver, up only. Up only. And there's still impossible international issues related to energy. Commodities up, green paper down. There is a short on YouTube. Bitcoin is classified as a commodity. Commodities up, green fiat down. Green fiat down, commodities up, crypto up. Okay, now to base. So Arrow is a primary benefactor of what goes on the base network. So huge move from 20 cents to $2. Okay. Comes off in this multi-week consolidation, boring everyone to tears. Notice the initial rally came close to the 1618. Remember the Fibonacci structures? It came down to support and almost touched the just regular 618. And then over the weekend, it went up 40%. Still think no one's coming to base? Now, what happens when this Arrow, a base-connected coin, takes out 204? Because obviously they're afraid of $2, right? Ooh, I'm afraid to go to $2. What happens when they're not afraid? What happens when, ETH prints 4,000 and just keeps going? Then what happens? What's Arrow? Hey, by the way, you can buy Arrow on Coinbase. Like Arrow. There's a guy I work with who's into these coins, like Arrow, Wearable. Velodrome is kind of affiliated. And again, the classics, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, all of the Doge. Like the normie world can get involved in some of the hottest stuff on Coinbase. I mean, SEI, I believe, is on Coinbase. So is Aptos. You can use Coinbase and actually make money. Whereas, as one boss I used to say, Coinbase is where altcoins go to retire, put out to pasture. That is no longer the case. Let me say that again. That is no longer the case for Coinbase itself. And definitely it's not true for Base. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. Okay, ETH. more Fibonacci extension analysis on a 4-hour chart. Look, the 618 at 3585. They broke that. What's the next level? 4458. Like ETH's up 6% today. Solar eclipse, big news, right? Expansion, right? Expand what? Like Peter Brandt is on Twitter being all bearish about ETH. And I'm like, this guy's not bearish, ETH. He's got he's backing up the truck. He's backing up the truck. He could see this type of stuff. Litecoin. Hey, a diagonal formation, one that works in crypto. How about a diamond? Diamonds can be very powerful. Litecoin, as I've drawn it, has exited the diamond. The Williams oscillator shows that this is about potentially to move a lot. The closer Litecoin gets to the apex of the diamond, the way the theory works, the more powerful the move. So if it takes Litecoin 2 or 3 days and it winds up, above the apex, 2 or 3 days from now, this could be at 120. This could just be gone. Because again, it's fast Bitcoin or it's little Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's going to get to a certain level and people are going to be like, okay, I missed it. What's next? This is not complicated. I know it's shocking. I'm very enthusiastic. Why? Because it's not complicated. It isn't. It's actually easy to explain to people. Bitcoin Cash. Green Bitcoin. Different logo. Possible layer 1 functionality. They built it to be fast. Now, this thing has obviously rallied. They ramped it from 400 to 700. But I mean, for Bitcoin Cash, that's nothing. It's nothing. Okay, Williams oscillator shows this about to move. Bitcoin Cash has been underperforming because it was outperforming. But what happens if Bitcoin Cash takes out 714? Right? You're consolidating just below the 618. The 1618 is at 1,026. The 3618 is at 1,600. You think Bitcoin Cash can't go to 1,600? You got to think again. I don't think people understand the number of people coming. There's $56 trillion in global pension funds. How many customers does Coinbase have? Tens of millions? What happens if tens of millions of people hit a DEX all at once looking to enhance their retirement? And they can get in with cash inside the DEX or inside the wallet. I mean, if they can't get in base, they'll start with whatever they can get their hands on, particularly if Bitcoin does something crazy and goes to 100. No one is talking about this. No one. Because it's crazy. No one will say it. I mean, CoinDesk thought I was hot news. Analyst says Bitcoin can go to 100K by 2025. Can you imagine if I told them Bitcoin could be at 100K by the end of May? They would have thought I was out of my mind. I may be out of my mind. But this is a question. This is why you watch this show. This is why you're in the Patreon group. Because you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow, today. You want tomorrow's weather today. Degen. This is a meme coin, right? Wrong. Wrong. This is a robust protocol. A robust protocol disguised as a meme coin. Guess where you can get it? Base. Has a $500 million valuation. If this is what I think it is, this can be the thing that comes out of nowhere the way Chainlink and Compound did back in 2020, where you blinked and something just, I don't know, like whiff, it just goes. I don't know if we've had a project do like what Chainlink and Compound did in 2020. We've had meme coins do it, but not a project. Ondo, Degen, Arrow, like Ondo, I think that's just regular Coinbase. That's real world assets. Everyone's like, you're no longer early. Okay, yeah, you can no longer get Degen for a penny. You can get it for 4 pennies. Right? I mean, somebody I heard today who I respect enormously is talking about WIF at double digits. That would be the dog meme coin, trading at 3, 4 something. What do you think this can do? This is like 9 cents for the 3618. And it's kind of interesting that they're afraid of 5 cents because each time it went to 5 cents, they got hosed, right? If you bought it above 5 cents, they dropped it on you. Then you bought it above 5 cents and then they dropped it on you harder. Now it goes to 5 cents. Everyone's like, well, I can't touch that. What do I always say? What goes up? The things that no one likes, the things that no one owns, the things that no one understands. And maybe you can add a 4th thing to that. The things that people get hosed in, right? The volatile things that are tough to buy and hold or tough to get into if you weren't like an original adopter. Anything that's hard to get your hands on, anything that requires a little bit of work to figure out. Like I remember this back in the day, like the guys who understand how to buy things like Kusama. I always tell this story. I'm on a show with Oh Hey Maddie, and I'm charting Kusama. And, you know, to be honest with you, at the time I was charting with it, I really wouldn't know what Kusama was if it dropped out of the sky and fell on my head. But I knew what the chart looked like. And Oh Hey Maddie just goes on his computer and goes, boop. I think it was when Kusama was at 18. I think it went to 500. Right. In other words, people, we're in a bull market, and bull markets don't always let you in. They don't let you in, right? They go, oh, it's up, I can't buy it. I don't want people FOMOing in the top of meme coins up 1,000%, but just because something is up doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. As a matter of fact, if it's up early in the cycle, it means you should buy it. Going back to Patreon, going back to the store, right? If you have $27 on your computer or on a browser, it's more on iPhone and through an app. But if you got $27, you can get a report that says, hey, what's next? And you know what? Yes, I'm trying to make a living, but here's some advice. You want some advice? You better get whatever you're going to get before Coinbase herd shows up. Because Larry has put out the call to the Coinbase and Normie herd today with this thing, this simple message that you don't have enough money to retire. There's nothing like the truth to get him going. Now, back to Peter Brandt. Okay. In what seemed like a shift in position, Brandt said in a different tweet that he would not hesitate to take a leveraged long position in Ethereum if the chart indicates it. Huh? You mean some guy on Twitter like did a little fake? He's like, oh, I hate Ethereum, but I get levered long. What do you know? Here's a 13 bottom in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes to 80, where's Ethereum going? Like this is a willy-nilly breakout. Like here's Ethereum versus Bitcoin down only, right? ETH doesn't rally, ETH goes down, Bitcoin goes up. ETH versus Bitcoin breaks all of these support points. It gives you the 13 bottom, but it still sits here for 4 days after 15 days or 10 days of just like it's never going up at 3,200. It's like, get this away from me. I don't want it. And then the next thing you know, oh my God, the thundering wildebeest herd from every nature show you've ever watched, thundering across the plains of Africa, headed for Coinbase, headed for the base network. And we're all sitting around saying Ethereum has no use case. I did a trade using Ethereum today for $1. Ethereum versus Bitcoin weekly also has a 13 bottom. Now they got this DeMark support point that they got to get back above this dotted line. But look how they've been pressing this. They pressed it in the fall. This is Ethereum pressing down, like Ethereum underperforming. Ethereum underperforming. This is November, October. Oh, January again. Oh, February. Oh, March. How long have you been putting up with this in Ethereum? Can you hear the wildebeest herd coming as everybody in the crypto native world is like, we don't need that. Solana versus Ethereum. Now, is Solana going to go up? Yeah, because of the Solana phone and because of Solana NFTs. Now, I realize that the urge, the need to, try your hand at small coins is very tempting. I did it today with a small coin. Could wind up being a big coin. Who knows? I'll look at it when it's over. I will be talking about it in Patreon if it turns out to be the real deal. But don't you think this is excessive? Like Solana versus Ethereum made this huge new high, and this very intelligent DeMark stochastic that works off quantitative metrics is making a higher low. So Solana did much better than Ethereum. It got to resistance, and now it just looks like Ethereum simply coming back. That's all. There's nothing wrong with Solana. They're having a network outage. What else is new? But if they're having a network outage, well, you can go on base and trade for $1. ETH's probably going to make a comeback. And this whole massive Solana outperformance on a weekly chart may wind up getting unwound. So Peter Brandt is like, yeah, buy resistance. It's like, okay, sometimes I want to buy resistance. And obviously, if Solana goes to 300, then this is just going to go. But not today. This points to Solana has paved the way for Ethereum to come back. Because that meme coin speculative frenzy that's been in Solana is going to translate over to base, except the crypto natives are going to be in there with the entire normie herd. But nobody wants any Ethereum at 3,200. Yeah, get rid of that. And that's the market update. Okay. Aiken is into ICP. Yes, the decentralized computing world, DPIN, all this stuff is undertraded. I have seen a Game Boy, if anybody remembers that is play to earn Bitcoin and DPIN. It's mind-boggling. And they've released meme coins and NFTs on Bitcoin. That hasn't showed up yet. The crypto native world is over there with a major head start. King Peasant says, I make people bullish. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're getting something out of the show. What I don't want to happen is, because bull markets don't let you in, I don't want you to have this market shake you out. Because remember, time in the market, even if you have to have smaller positions, is better than timing the market. It's actually something old school I learned at Schwab. It's a great saying that they had. In other words, you got to have a core position, because even though they're shaking everybody out, I mean, how long did they shake people out for? A day? 2 days? ICP. So this is a Fibonacci circle structure, likely used in a long-term price prediction. And I'm not sharing screen. Okay, and here's a little news while I'm working on Coinbase's layer 2 blockchain base surpasses $4 billion in total value locked. The normie herd is coming. Go watch a nature show with wildebeests. Most of the time, one of the wildebeests gets nailed by a crocodile. That's kind of how that works. But in this particular case, the herd is coming. Lots of them. Credit to the Eagle King for getting that article midstream. And now I have to remember to share screen, because I'm showing you this great Fibonacci circle analysis here in ICP. Okay, so this looks like up only on the merger talk. This looks like I'm frustrated. I don't understand why my coin is not going up. I've missed the cycle. It's too late. I don't own it. my coin won't work, and then boom. You just wake up and it's off to the races. And sorry for not sharing screen, but here is, I lost it. Here it is. Coinbase's layer 2 surpasses 4 billion. And decentralized physical infrastructure is absolutely on support. GHX, GamerCoin for a Spartan in Patreon. Again, you're going to see this everywhere. Look at this. Sometimes in some of these coins, it's this simple. Okay. This is the 62% retracement. No Fibonacci fancy stuff. Straight up retracement, right? It runs the stops down here. You only had to put up with it for 2 days at 14 cents. And this is more than likely, right? When you have these 62% retracements, it allows you to do some basic Elliot Wave, right? 62% retracement ends a 4-wave, and a 5-wave gives you an emotional new high. Period. The period. Jashim reminds everybody that we have 138 people watching and 59 likes. People, feel free to hit that like button. Feel free to keep watching us on Twitter, to retweet, right? And especially joining Patreon. As one Patreon member did tell you, this free content that you are watching is brought to you by the people in my Patreon. Cronos, is that crypto.com? I think it is, right? Oh, the guys with the debit cards, right? I have this. And I believe that this is some variation of the bigger the base, the higher into space. Because what's the normie world going to do when they refigure out that you can get a debit card that has crypto attached to it? Speed, magnitude, and direction, high school physics. What goes down a certain way goes back up the same way. So you missed it, right? You didn't buy it at 5 cents. But if you don't get it at 15, this is not investment advice. But this is not the type of chart you see when it's over, when you're not early anymore. What do you mean you're not early anymore? No, what you mean is you didn't get to buy the low. No one buys the low. That's why it's the low. The low is a complete absence of buyers, just like the high is a complete absence of sellers. Does it ever look good at a low? Of course not. Does it ever look bad at a high? Of course not. But does this mean you're too late? No. No. Now, if you zoom in, again, just it's like there's so many parts of this market that are simple, right? 62% retracement. Couldn't even get there. Comes back up and is holding above the 38% retracement. This is 14 cents. The crypto native world is here. The normie world is not. They've started doing the Bitcoin ETF. Emphasis on the word started. Started. Like, are you going to fade Larry? I'm not. I'm not. I am not. Absolutely not. Let's see what else we got here. What else do we got? Oh, you know what? Doge. And by the way, speaking of Doge, select meme coins and select projects from Base will be featured in Patreon on an absolute as regular basis as I can get to it. I am not playing around on this. I told you what I missed. I told you what I missed. I'm not missing this. I'm not. I'm not. Okay, I got to go to a different screen. Bringing up Doge, and I should probably bring up WIF too while I'm at it. Okay, so Doge gets to the 38% retracement, goes up, and everyone's afraid of 20 cents for some reason. Okay, again, as a reminder, Doge weekly. Got a little too carried away with my Fibonacci circles there. What has Doge on a weekly basis done? Nothing. Nothing. This range goes all the way back to November of 2021, and we're just at the high end of the range. This is probably going to $1, and it's probably going to be WIF that leads it. Now, I haven't done this, but you know, it's time to get over myself about this kind of stuff. Okay. And get with the program. Let's try a 4-hour chart of this. Okay, so this is live TA on WIF. Okay, so let's try some hidden pivot analysis in this. This is like your basic, I want to see some support and resistance levels that people can't see. So WIF just took out 392. That was a hidden pivot level. The next one is at 460. And the upside target is 467. I believe when I last looked at this, it has a $3 billion market cap. The upside target is $6. Where are the meme coins? Where are the small coins on base? Where's Degen and Arrow? Where are they going to be if WIF goes to $6 or $10? Where's it going to go? Like, this is the value expansion machine. Now, if I may say, it is kind of weird this cycle. So last cycle, there were all these small coins that came on the ETH. And then at the end of the day, ETH wound up capturing a lot of the value, right? ETH went from 300 to 4,000 and got a 10x in like the number 3 coin. Seems a little funny in Solana that it's kind of, it feels like the opposite. It feels like almost like WIF is capturing all of the excitement of Solana. And if guys are talking about this going to $10, goodness, it's like the opposite, right? Like WIF is becoming this like Solana-based monster. And again, where's ETH? Where's Bitcoin? This is a sign of like speculative juice in the market. So if this thing goes and makes a new high, what's going to happen in the market? Okay, if I don't stop talking, my producer is going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Here's the bottom line. Normies are coming. Coinbase is coming. Larry Fink is coming. Crypto equities can go up a lot. You are not too late. You are not too early. You are right on time. More on base coming soon in Patreon. Not playing around on that. We'll see you next time.